Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to Once More, a podcast where two best pals rewatch, re-examine, and review our favorite movies, shows, and TV series. I'm Ryan something.
And I'm Jen Katz.
Hello, Jen Katz.
Hello, Ryan something.
How are you?
Randy something.
Randy. My name's Randy today.
Randy. Yes, Randy. Someone sent you an email and addressed it as Hi, Randy.
Yes. I'm Randy today, everyone. What is that? Oh, it's blood of series. Now I want to watch it. What are you looking for? Good God.
Lord. Yeah. That's the same song. Okay. Do you want to do that again?
I'm Randy today, everyone.
Good Lord.
Probably be hitting that button a lot this episode.
This entire season.
Yes. Well, Randy.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you recently had a tattoo that you shared with members of a magic cult that turned into a homing beacon?
I did.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Actually.
Oh my God. Once more. Contains still content.
I've got a built-in homing beacon.
Oh my God.
Good Lord.
Well, okay.
Hi, ladies.
Hi. Hello.
Gentlemen.
Folks.
Ma'am.
Welcome. Is
How
this
about you, Jenny?
unhinged?
Do
Or is
you?
this
Looks like you might.
yes, I have quite a few tattoos. I do share a tattoo with I think 8 other people, so could be one day a cat spirit could come after all of us.
Good.
Weirder things have happened. But yeah.
Yes, I have. Okay.
Okay. Shall we get into today's episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Let's boof it. Yes, let's get into it.
So, today, we will be discussing the 8th episode of the 2nd season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Dark Age. It was directed by Bruce Seth Green. It was written by Joss Whedon, Rob DeHotel, and Dean Batali. And the episode premiered on November 10th, 1997, which was nary, let's do some math. 11 plus 11 is 21. 12 days before my 7th birthday.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. This was I was watching Rugrats and Doug and all kinds of stuff. Not this.
Love Doug.
Doug was so great. Yeah, so this is an interesting episode. I commandeered the synopsis for this week, and I can read it. Or Ryan, you could give us a dramatic reading of
I would love you to read the synopsis.
Okay. On this episode of Buffy, Giles' ex-boyfriend Ethan Rayne comes back into town because the demon they used to summon is trying to kill everyone. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Well, I mean, why aren't they hiring me to write synopsis? Or is it synopsi? We looked this up one time. Yeah. Okay.
Well, guess what's back?
Back again.
We've got Giles reading the introduction to the Slayer lore.
We sure do.
So
where was it last week?
I don't know.
They're messing with you. They're thinking you have the job, and they're like, "Whoa, Ripper's back."
Would you like to take a stab at it?
Would I?
Yes.
Is it written down?
Yes, it's in the intro outro.
Oh, I can. Am I doing a dramatic reading or what am I doing?
You should do the reading that you think is best.
Okay.
Give it your all or give it nothing. It's up to you.
'Cause I want it all. Remember that song? Or nothing at all.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Okay. In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. When is that? I don't know when that's going to stop or not. I thought it stopped in season 1. Okay.
So this episode is titled The Dark Age.
It is.
After watching this episode, I have no idea where this title fits within
It doesn't to me.
The premise of the show.
No. I don't know why it's called The Dark Age either.
So
are they referring to Giles' past as being a dark age?
Could be.
That's the only thing I can think of.
That's a reach, but I'll take it. It's something.
Yeah, it's a reach. I don't know. This episode is disjointed in a lot of ways. Some of the stuff you're like, what? I think they had an idea that could have worked, and they're trying to use this episode as a vehicle to show that Giles isn't a fuddy duddy.
Right.
He had some dark stuff in his past, but I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'll take it. It's something.
It's something. So we open at Sunnydale High School.
We do at night.
At night. We've got a man with a silver briefcase looking like he's in Men in Black. What do you think was in that briefcase?
I don't know. That was just kind of the briefcase that a lot of businessmen traveled and carried. My dad had a briefcase exactly like that.
But to me, I feel like your businessman's briefcase was like a leather one. You know, this one was the metal, like you're a scientist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, there were two styles of briefcase, I think, at that time that were popular. I think one was the traditional leather-bound briefcase.
I love it. Love a leather-bound
like
briefcase.
a cordovan leather.
Sure.
And then when you get to, I think, kind of the 60s, 70s, 80s, you start seeing the trend of these metal briefcases. And I think it's because you could travel with them. You could pack them in a flight. You could put your clothes in them.
They held up.
Your documents in them, and they held up.
Your documents. I guess, what was this guy who we know as Philip is coming to Giles and he's going to slap that briefcase down?
We don't know what his profession is. We don't know if he's a watcher or if he's just friend with a watcher, but we come to find out that he has practiced magic with Giles.
Mm-hmm. So he's aware of the supernatural.
Supernatural. So God knows what's in that briefcase, but we never see it again.
No.
And it's never mentioned again.
No.
So it couldn't have been anything exciting. If I had to guess, it was probably just his luggage and important papers.
Like he threw his clothes in to come
just
give Giles a heads up.
Hop across the pond and give his buddy a heads up.
Well, he is
being chased.
Yeah, he's going through Sunnydale High School, the courtyard. He sees the janitor. He's like, I need to see Rupert Giles. It's night. We're assuming he went to Giles's house first, and Giles was not there. So he comes. Sunnydale.
If you were the janitor at Sunnydale High, you've probably witnessed a whole lot of stuff. How much do you think he's seen as a janitor at Sunnydale? What has he cleaned up? Think about it.
Fuck.
Think about all the bodies in that school, students, teachers, just the poor people that went to the parent-teacher conference.
Yeah, the vamp dust. Piles of dust.
Probably got a special solution for the vamp. What do you think it is, Fabuloso?
But it's got to be. Everything's Fabuloso.
It's great.
It's
good
great
stuff. Sponsor us, Fabuloso. We love you.
Ding. So we see Philip. He's like, he is speed walking. And all of a sudden there's a demon lady behind him. She looks like a demon.
Yeah,
the makeup is
not
bad.
That urgent. He looks like it's urgent, but he's speed walking.
You know,
he's not running.
My first point of order for this episode, if you know you're being chased,
run.
He was being chased across the world.
Yeah.
Right? Because Deirdre was in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Deirdre Page.
Wouldn't he have called Giles before he left?
Hey, bud.
I'm on my way.
I'm in the airport. I'm hopping a flight. I'm coming to see you. I think Deirdre's behind me.
Yeah, you need to like get your shit together. Wouldn't maybe you get like a weapon of some sort?
Or you land in LA.
Yeah, you might. Well, Sunnydale has an airport.
Excuse me, Sunnydale has an airport. You land at the Sunnydale airport. You could go to the payphone. You could pull out the phone book because all these things existed at this time.
Correct.
You could go down to what's Giles?
Rupert Giles. Rupert. Yeah.
Like,
what's Giles' last name?
You go down to Ripper.
That's a whole different section of the phone book, my guy.
Call your buddy, give him a heads up. Be like, hey, I'm on my way. Maybe he did.
Maybe but he didn't. Landed. Giles had no idea. Maybe he tried.
Maybe he landed. He called Giles' house. No one answered. And he's like, he works at the school. I got to go check it out.
Benefit of the doubt there. But anyway.
WB, hire me. I can write these episodes for you.
I think it's a CW now.
Whoever.
Just hire him.
Hire us.
We've got this.
We've got this.
If you do a reboot of Buffy, we would love to be at least consultants. Okay. So, okay. The demon lady pops up and he calls her Deirdre.
He does.
And
what a great name.
She says, Philip.
Yeah.
The
makeup
doesn't
look well.
No, she doesn't look well. We cut to the library and Buffy's doing the step exercises.
She's aerobicizing.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
What a moment. That was such a thing in the 90s. I remember that.
I think it still is.
I mean, if you go to like a, no free ads, but Gold's Gym, Planet Fitness, those places, they definitely have those types of classes still. But Very popular back in the day. You would buy your little step and you'd hop 2 and, look great. She's doing the step jazzercise, or I'm sorry, the step aerobicize.
Thank you.
And she's got some stock workout music on. And Giles is, perturbed and like, can you do your calisthenics elsewhere? And blah, blah, blah. Giles is like, saying, this isn't music. I know music. Music has notes. And Buffy's like, I'm a teenager. I'm an old man. They're doing that kind of thing back and forth. And
I can see both sides of the coin. In his defense,
yeah,
it is very irritating music, especially being blasted in a library while you're literally sitting at the desk in front of the speaker trying to read.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be cool with that.
In her defense, it's great workout music.
It's great. You need a workout.
It's got a beat.
Again, no free ads. I'm a big Peloton fan. Love my Peloton. Peloton, please sponsor us. There's a lot of country music rides, and I'm like, I have no interest in working out to country music.
Make me want to take the back road. Make me want to take the long way home.
No.
Put a little Peloton in your stallion.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I love country music. There's a Dolly Parton ride, but I'm like, that's just not what I'm looking for when I work out. I want some EDM, I want some techno.
A Dolly Parton ride. I just want to stop and listen.
That's the thing. I want to enjoy it and not be like, why did you come here? Okay. So Buffy and Giles are going back and forth. She's training. Philip's on the other side of the door. Help me. Somebody help me.
Banging on the library door. And no one can hear him because the music's too loud.
Because the music. And Buffy finishes. She turns off the music and Giles says something like, blessed silence or something.
I'm with him.
And we go back outside and Deirdre has killed Philip. She's choked him to death.
His life was in her hands.
Literally.
She chokes him to death. And I'm assuming at this point that there's going to be some sort of like soul swap. Like
you would think
she's going to jump into his soul. But it doesn't necessarily happen exactly that way. They both fall to the ground dead. And
she turns into goo.
And she just becomes this goo.
We're going to get into this later, but the whole icon of it all and the jumping from body to body, wibbly wobbly. So
then we jump to these premonitions with an Axl Rose character.
He kind of looks like Axl Rose with short hair. He's got like kind of the headband, little see-through John Lennon glasses.
Super cool.
And it's like interspliced with Giles like tossing and turning in bed and
books and stabbing, and
demon face,
all sorts of stuff. It's clearly a premonition of some sort.
Yeah, it's kind of like episode 1 of Buffy Welcome to the Hellmouth when she's having the Slayer dreams. Mm-hmm. You get the feeling that this is not just your everyday, like I'm dreaming of corn dogs at the county fair.
Do you dream of corn dogs at the county fair?
I don't even like corn dogs.
Wow. Okay, folks. Welcome to Left Field. Jenny's transported us there.
We spent a lot of time here.
I have so many questions. Why that was the thing that you went through.
I don't even like corn dogs, so I don't know what's what here. Okay. So Giles is wearing a nice little silk pajama set, little stripes. How do you feel about those?
I think that a gentleman like Giles would have a nice pajama set.
Would a gentleman known as Randy something also have a nice silk pajama set?
Randy does have one. You've seen it. Yes, I do have a nice set of PJs. They are a washable silk made by Sleepy Jones. Sleepy Jones? Sponsor us.
Yeah. Love it.
Thrill.
Oh, I hope so. So we cut from Giles's apartment, which we've not seen Giles at home yet. This is the first episode we see Giles's apartment.
Nice apartment.
Yeah. So he's in bed having these concerning dreams by himself. And we go to the high school and Buffy and Willow are sitting outside in the quad.
Buffy looks great.
Oh, this is my sleigh.
This is a sleigh for sure.
She's got a halter top and a mini skirt.
Sunglasses on.
And she's got a little bag. It's so cute.
Few people in this world can rock a pair of sunglasses the way that Sarah Michelle Gellar can.
It's really unfair that we all have to try.
Looks good.
Yeah, she looks great. And her and Willow they're playing a game.
I love this.
A game of Anywhere But Here is what they call it later. And Buffy's describing being on a beach. It's all relaxing. And Gavin Rossdale is massaging her feet, which
Gavin Rossdale.
This was like 1997 Gavin Rossdale.
Yeah.
Hot. He's married to Gwen Stefani. So Bush was very popular at this time. So this makes sense. Willow's is really cute to me, but I do have some questions.
Okay. What's your question?
What does Willow say she at? Where is she?
Willow is in Italy.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And she's sitting down at a restaurant.
Little cafe.
At a little cafe, and she's eating ziti.
I love that detail so much.
And the waiter comes and asks if they can sit someone with her, and it turns out to be John Cusack.
Would he have been a teenager?
Listen,
even in the 90s like that?
Yes, he's in the 90s, I think, was peak John Cusack. He's an attractive male.
He is not my go-to.
Sure.
But,
Yeah, someone like Willow, it
tracks.
It tracks. For her to have a thing with John Cusack and, probably his sister too. I think it tracks. I think it's great.
Forgot he had a sister.
John and Joan.
That's a lot for me.
There's like some other siblings too. I can't remember what their names are.
Jet.
We're going to feel really bad if they ever watch our show.
Yeah, right. Sure will.
I want to be with Willow having ziti in Italy. I think that would just be such a pleasant afternoon.
With or without John Cusack?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I would probably, if I had to pick out of these two scenarios, I think Willow, ziti in Italy for sure. I like a beach, but I like ziti more.
I'd ask your Anywhere But Here, but I think I already know what it is.
Pray tell.
It's Paris.
Yeah.
With a baguette.
Yeah.
And a glass of champagne.
Yeah.
And sunglasses on like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Totally. A book.
Yeah. And maybe a handsome Parisian or two.
Honestly, we could have just stopped at the book. I like my alone time.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah. Do you want to get into where you're Anywhere But Here?
Where's mine?
Oh, God. This is tricky. You would probably be somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, maybe, where it's a little colder. You could have a nice fire, glass of champagne or a martini, a good martini with a twist. Just kidding. Not with a twist. And good food and a book. I don't know. I'm bad at this. I couldn't even tell you what anyone else's would be.
Okay, well, look up from your book in Paris because I'm sitting right across from you. But I'll take the Pacific Northwest scenario too.
Oh, cool. Look at us.
Anywhere but here right now, folks. It's hot.
It's hot as fuck. It's hot as fuck. It's hot as fuck. It's probably really hot in Paris right now too. Okay. So our scenarios are great. I like all of our scenarios, but guess who gets to pop up and give his Anywhere But Here? Xander, when asked, says his immediately Amy Yip at the water slide park.
I'm sick. I need help.
And then repeats it.
Again.
I'm sick. I need help.
Look, we had to do some investigative journalism. Amy Yip is a Hong Kong actress. She's very famous in the late 80s and early 90s for her sexy kung fu movies.
Oh, okay.
So she was in movies called Erotic Ghost Story, Sex and Zen, and Robotrix. And so I'm assuming, I've not seen any of these. Can't verify, but I'm assuming Xander is just referring to that she's a actress in sexy movies and he wants to see her at a water slide park, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
So they're like, the three of them are all chit-chatting and they see Giles and they're like, has Giles ever played this game? They're talking about how square Giles is. They're like, Buffy makes a comment. He was probably our age in math class saying, I wish there was more math. Like they're just talking about, again, he's just
square.
She says his diapers were tweed, which is a great line. So as we already mentioned, Buffy's outfit is a sleigh in this. She's just
total
mini skirt, halter top.
White mini skirt, halter top, sunglasses.
Yeah. They're walking the halls. They meet up with Giles, and Giles is like, Buffy, you got to be at the hospital at 8:30 sharp. There's a blood bank delivery.
It's a blood bank delivery. I love this.
Never heard of this before. Okay.
Yeah.
But later on, based off what Angel says, it seems like this happens all the time and everyone knows about it.
Right.
In this town, why would you make a blood delivery after sundown? Just saying.
It's because the vamps are ordering it.
I see. This made no sense to me. I don't we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. So Buffy says, Giles he's obviously a little out of it. He'd had those dreams. He's being a little bit short. And Buffy says, have I ever let you down? And I do like the line. Do you want me to answer that or shall I just glare? Then someone walks up.
Jenny C.
Jennifer
and man,
Calendar.
she walks up with swagger.
Mm-hmm.
She has something on her mind. And it is Ripper.
And she says,
Rupert.
Hello, England, which I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Could have been a better pickup line.
And Willow says, ooh, you can see the passion. Jenny,
not in that line, but yes.
No, and Jenny's like, Willow. And, they're all going back and forth talking about how Jenny's hosting a Saturday school for people falling behind in computer class, and Willow's going to help. Xander has to go, apparently. It's going to be Xander, Cordelia, and Willow.
Yeah, Xander makes a snarky comment, and Jenny C's like, okay, well, we'll see you Saturday, too, because you're going to help out.
Yeah.
And then she says that she's going to recruit Cordelia.
Yeah, and then we find out it's literally just Willow, Xander, and Cordelia on Saturday. How convenient. No one else in the high school needs help with computer class.
Just those three.
Oy vey.
So she and Rupert take off down the hallway.
They do.
There's this great little line.
Oh,
is it Willow or is it Buffy that says a twosome of cuteness?
I can't remember who says it, but I like that. And then they're like, can't you just imagine them together? And they all smile and they all go, and then they all
then they really start thinking about it. Yeah.
Well, because that's the thing too. We going back to our parents. Everyone's like, oh, we don't want our parents. They don't have sex.
Yeah.
Well, they do.
So Jenny is very flirtatious with Rupert, and she starts really trying to get his goat.
She's like,
thanks for loaning me that book. I made so many dog ears, and then I underlined a lot of sentences.
Yeah.
And I accidentally spilt my coffee, and you could just see the anxiety and frustration building up in Giles.
Oh, I know. He's like,
he's panicking.
It's a first edition.
She's like, I just love to see you squirm.
Oh, yeah. And
how about that?
And he says, well, I trust I gave good squirm. Sir.
Good Lord.
I'm going to press that a lot.
Did anyone ever tell you that you're a sexy fuddy-duddy?
Suck that. Okay, here's the thing.
Where she's going.
This is where she's going because, I think because first she says, has anyone ever told you you're kind of a fuddy-duddy? And he kind of gets like, that's usually all that
That's
people,
right.
like, that's all I hear lately. And then she says, did anyone ever tell you you're kind of a sexy fuddy-duddy? And he goes, you can see his face. And
yeah,
I mean, he's like,
good
no.
for him. I'm so happy for him.
I know. He's so cute because he's like, that part usually gets left out. And I can't imagine why.
I love that.
He's so cute. And then Miss Jennifer P. Calendar
leans in for a smooch.
But before she smooches,
I'm so sorry.
No. They start laying out their weekend plans.
Yeah, she asks them out on a date.
Yeah, and she says this weekend, and he's like, "Oh, would you like to go out?" She says, "I think I'd like to stay in." Jennifer.
Mm-hmm. We know what that means.
Jennifer. Goodbye.
You know where I get that from.
This is now the Randy Something podcast. Oh my God. So it's so great. And it's she's she says I'd like to stay in, and Giles is like, oh.
Yeah, Giles gets the gist of things.
And he's like, yes, so Saturday then. And she says, I'll see if I can make you squirm. Suck fast.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
All of it. Wow.
Big smooch. I'll see you Saturday, see if I can make you squirm. And he's just like,
do they kiss here?
Oh yeah, they kiss right before she says I'll see you Saturday.
Okay. Oh yeah, and the bell rings and they break apart.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Great. I'm into it. I'm into Giles and Jenny.
I'm into this. I'm into this scene. I'm into all of this for the two of them. I wish that we could just capture this couple right here.
Yeah.
Because I don't like where it goes after all of this.
You mean in this episode or the series?
Oh.
Woo! Yep. Okay. So
I'm happy for Giles right here. And that's what's most important.
yeah.
I love how I say this every time that Ginny sees on here and she says something like this. I love how forward she is with him. I love that she just lays it out there for him because he's not the type of gentleman who is either quick to do it himself, but she knows it's there. She knows the connection is there.
Yeah.
She knows he's interested. And so she's just like throwing it out there. And I love that for him.
I do too. You know, I think
just a good combination. There's good chemistry here. I love it.
I agree. So Giles is, you know, got a little spring in his step.
He's got a little swagger after that. I mean, what individual would?
Right. Heading to the library, gonna get down to the work day. Not
feeling good.
So fast.
Hold on to your seats and your hats and whatever else you need to hold on to, folks, because Sunnydale has a police force and has a detective who investigates murders.
Yeah.
A season and a half later. Where have they been?
How many dead kids have been found in this school?
And teachers.
Decapitated teachers, R.I.P. Dr. Gregory. May your memory be a blessing.
Bystanders.
Bystanders?
Bystanders. Bystanders?
But bystanders.
What am I saying?
Bystanders. Sorry.
For those of you tuning in, I've had a stroke.
Okay. Yeah, so many dead people have been found, but now this is the time that Detective Winslow.
Chief Detective Winslow.
Chief Inspector, Detective Inspector.
Yes.
Detective Winslow is on the case.
She's on it with her purse, by the way.
And she does the detective thing with her little badge and she slaps it open and slaps it back.
Love a good detective.
She's great. I want Detective Winslow Sunnydale stories.
I want a series with her.
I do. And she's there to talk to
Oh my
Giles.
God, that would be a great spinoff.
A detective
fanfic. Sunnydale detective series?
Come on.
It'd be better than the Jedi detective series.
Acolyte. Is that another theme song?
I think so. The theme song is like 6 seconds.
That's all. That's
the intro.
I've just seen it on social media. I've not watched it.
Super short, which I love because I'm over the long entrances that you have to watch or skip past.
Okay.
I love Game of Thrones, but let's face it, I just want to get straight to the dragons.
To the dragons.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry. Detective Winslow is there in the library with 2 officers. They've let 3 members of the Sunnydale police force. They've put them on this case. What the fuck? Nobody investigated the guy who came into town and opened a Halloween store.
Nope.
Nobody investigated when Dr. Gregory was decapitated.
Nope.
Nobody investigated when gangs on PCP came to parent-teacher night.
Nope.
But there was an unidentified man. They said he has no identification. He was found outside of the high school, but he had Giles's name and address in his pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love the evidence bag with a note.
Cordelia comes blazing in. She's like, Giles, can you believe that I have to go to Sunday school? I have to go to Saturday school. And Giles is like, Cordelia. Mm-hmm. And then she's just going on. She's like, what? He's like, hey,
look around.
This is not a good time. And she just barrels past him and says, oh, hey, can you guys help me with a parking ticket?
She's like, oh, police, great.
Yeah. And then he kind of yells, Cordelia. And she goes, what? Why is everyone shouting my name?
She doesn't listen. She's always in her own world.
Charisma Carpenter is brilliant. She looks great.
This outfit is a slay.
Great. No notes. Cordelia's now got bangs.
Yeah.
She's dressing. She's like kind of preppy, kind of mom. It's, I'm into it. She looks great. Mm-hmm. And Giles basically tells her to come back later.
So they take Giles in to identify the body.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And the body of this Philip Henry. So who is Philip Henry? We don't know yet.
We're going
to find out.
Mm-hmm. And the coroner opens one of those drawers, body drawers, I guess. And he asks Giles, have you had your breakfast yet? And Giles says no. And the guy's like, good thing. And they take the sheet back and it's the man we saw trying to get into the library.
Just a corpse. There's nothing.
Giles has seen worse. It's a corpse. He's not
decapitated.
He's not. His face isn't ripped off.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Detective Winslow, she's on the case. She's like, do you know him? He says, yes. This was Philip Henry. I knew him in London. I haven't spoken to him in 20 years.
Henry
Higgins. Yeah, she says. And they zoom into a tattoo on Philip's body. Yeah. And she goes, the detective asks, do you know what that is? And Giles says, no. Giles?
He's staring at that tattoo.
Huh? And we cut to Buffy. She's outside at a payphone. She's outside the hospital on a payphone trying to call Giles' apartment.
Yeah.
And, she says, makes a comment like, be on time, blah, blah, blah.
Where are you? Yeah.
And then a van pulls up. 2 guys get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
2 doctors come up and they pick up a cooler.
Yeah.
What does Buffy say?
She said, she makes a comment about doctors, like ER doctors being hot.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait, since when do doctors take deliveries?
Right. And then the van pulls away. A car pulls up. It's a vamp in a car. Turns out the ER doctors are also vamps.
Right. One of them starts tasting the blood, and the vamp in the car is like, hey, no sampling the product.
What is happening? So Buffy attacks. She's fighting. And then our good pal, Angel, shows up.
Angel appears out of nowhere and starts
literally nowhere
kicking butt with Buffy.
Kicking butt. He's kicking ass. Yeah. They defeat the vampires, but the one in the car gets away. Of course. There's always got to be the one. And Buffy's like, she's like, what's going on? And he's like, it's delivery day. Or no. She goes, what are you doing here? And he's like, it's delivery day. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So
this is like the vampire Meals on Wheels.
Correct.
Okay. So is Angel there because this is where he gets his blood?
They kind of make it seem that way.
Okay.
But no, Angel, and this is not a spoiler, we find it out. Angel drinks pig's blood. He gets it from the butcher. He does not feed on human blood at all anymore. Okay. After he got his soul reinstated, he fed on rats and other vermin in the alleyways of wherever he was brooding. Okay. But now he gets his blood from the butcher.
Oh, okay.
So, but I guess there's a vampire memo. Hey, come to the hospital at 8:30 every Tuesday. Blood day.
There's a butcher shop. Let's put it on the geolocation list.
There's a butcher shop. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we cut to Giles's house. This is the first time we've seen where Giles lives. I love it.
This is one of my favorite sets. I enjoy
great.
Giles's apartment or loft or condo or whatever the hell it is.
It's an apartment. Yeah. And it's like a Spanish style. Yeah. It's really cool. And Buffy shows up and was banging on the door. Giles opens and he looks a little disheveled.
I'm going to say.
He looks hot.
This is one of my slays.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Open collar, loose tie, 5 o'clock shadow. Mm-hmm. Giles is handsome.
He is handsome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I too would like to make him squirm.
Good Lord.
Yes. I had the same thought, Giles.
And Buffy's like, hey, what's going on? What's up? And he's like, nothing. I'll talk to you later. He's just really trying to push her away, get her to leave.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right. He shuts the door on her and he gets on the phone and he's on the phone. And he's like, yes, I'm trying to reach a Deirdre Page. What? When?
So this must be the Deirdre that was chasing Mr. Philip Henry earlier in the episode.
Yes. And who turned into goo. So he's, kind of, you can hear his side. We don't hear the other side. But he's like, oh, when did she pass away? Mm-hmm. Find out she died. And he says, yes, I knew her. We were friends when we were young. So we got Philip.
This is the same day or the next day, right? How do they know?
Next day. No. It's the same day. It's the same day.
There is literally nothing left of Deirdre. How does anyone know that she's passed away?
So this is what I think. We don't know for sure. And this is one of the issues I have with the episode. So you know how Philip rises later on?
Uh-huh.
So she probably died. However, how did they, unless they buried her and she rose, but they don't really, because it seems like Philip rose pretty quick.
Yeah, but Philip didn't turn into goo.
He does later.
Yeah, and then that's it.
So here's what I'm guessing.
Okay.
Igon possessed Deirdre. After I don't know.
Because when they turn to goo, that's it. Well, when they die, they do come back and then they find another host. And then after they find another host, they turn to goo.
Got it. Okay.
Let's hear it.
Igon was in Thomas Sheffield or whoever, okay, the first guy, old Tom, jumped from Tom to Deirdre, and people found Deirdre. They assumed she died. They put her in the morgue or buried her. She rises as Igon, comes after Philip.
Thank you.
That's what I think, but
Good.
it's not super clear on.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
So when Giles hangs up the phone, he has a little list that he's crossing names off. We've got Thomas, which we couldn't see Thomas's last name. We put Sheffield because it sounds English. Philip Henry, Deirdre Page. What is the next name on the list?
Is Ethan Rayne.
Ethan Rayne, who we met 2 episodes ago on Halloween.
That's right.
And then the last name on the list is Rupert Giles,
a.k.a.
Ripper.
Giles looks very distraught, and he is pouring a glass of Oban single malt
which
whiskey,
is so good.
Great scotch. And you can tell he's in a panic.
He's not well. Listen, when he rolls up the sleeve, we see a tattoo. That's the same tattoo as Philip's. Then he looks in the mirror. Do you remember what he says?
No.
He goes, "So you're back." Who's he talking about? He's talking about his ex-boyfriend, Ethan?
He's talking about himself. You're back, baby.
Ripper's back. Nobody puts Ripper in a corner.
Rip you a new one.
Good Lord.
So we cut to the morgue, and speaking of our good buddy Phil, he's ripping the sheet off of his body.
Phil has come alive. He's a zombie.
He looks like a zombie. He's moving like this. Where does he get clothes? Because he's nude when he comes out of the body drawer.
Then he throws the only person near him.
The mortician. Poor mortician. I have a claustrophobia fear, and so watching that was harrowing. Like I used to, as a kid, worry about being buried alive. I mean, I don't think that's a real thing to be worried about. Like if you're dead, you're dead. You're not going to wake up.
Don't go on the internet.
Oh, fuck. Okay. So yeah, Philip shoves the mortician into the body drawer and he leaves the morgue. Typical Tuesday in this town. Yeah. So go back to the high school. It's Saturday school with our good buddies, Cordelia, Xander, Wilhelmina, and Jenny C. Who the fuck dressed these people?
I don't know, but everyone in this scene, and Buffy comes in later and she looks about as well put together as the rest of them, but this is my fashion is mostly.
Cordelia's not bad.
Cordelia's okay, and Willow's okay. She's got this really cute
Willow's is cute,
scenario going on, which
it's
is
really
always a slay for me.
Xander, Buffy, and Miss Calendar.
Xander in his athletic pants with his oversized, like double XL.
Oh, that sweater.
Gray sweater.
Why is he wearing wool and athletic pants? It makes no sense.
I don't understand what it's like a winter print.
It's like
sweater.
Looks like mountains or something.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, this is something that you're wearing when you're sipping like wine next to the fireplace and like Mammoth or something like that.
Oh, that sounds nice.
I know it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I take back what I said. It's not the whole group. It's really, for me, Xander and Buffy. Jenny looks fine.
Jenny looks like a teacher.
Cordelia also looks like a teacher.
She does.
Xander looks terrible. Buffy's outfit's terrible. And they're, talking about the computers and an abacus. They're just doing some banter. And Buffy shows up and Xander's like, oh.
Blazing in.
Oh, yeah. And Xander's like, hey, is there something dastardly that's going to end the world and we must leave school now? And Buffy's trying to talk to Jenny. She's worried about Giles. Yeah.
Hey, can I talk to you for a second? Have you heard from Giles? No. What's going on? Well, I went to his house and he seems really fucking stressed out.
And she's like,
thought maybe he had something to do with that.
And she's like, I think he was drinking. And Jenny goes,
oh, yeah.
You mean he was drinking alone? And I can't tell if they're meaning for it to be sarcastic, like, or if she's like, yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, all of them are like, oh, whoa, to drink alone? Like, you didn't know that things were that bad.
But I'm also like, he's an adult.
He's an adult who's made, even if he wasn't stressed out, maybe he's just having like a little nightcap.
We've all done it. I love to drink a glass of wine or a scotch. No, this is one of the reasons why this episode is not one of my favorites, because it suddenly becomes like an after school special.
It really does.
Where Buffy's like, she says, I believe he was drinking. And Jenny's like, he was home alone drinking?
Mm-hmm.
And then Willow's like, but tea, right?
Bless her.
The fuck are we doing? And Buffy's like,
who cares? Let the man live his life.
no. Buffy's like, oh, it wasn't tea, Willow. It wasn't tea. And
well, Buffy could tell something's wrong, and there's nothing that she can do to fix it.
And if the language and discussion was, hey, he seemed really upset, he was disheveled, and he was drinking, those things together,
yeah, okay, cause for concern,
right?
Not alarm, but concern.
But just that he was drinking,
and then everyone just goes, "Oh my gosh."
The adult man who lives by himself was drinking. And then Xander decides to chime in. He's like, yeah, we all knew this would happen. My Uncle Rory was the stodgiest taxidermist you'd ever met by day. By night, it was booze, whores, and fur flying. And he looks at Buffy and he goes, were there whores?
I'm sick. I need help.
What the fuck are we doing, Joss Whedon? What are we doing? Whores? I know that was a word used. It was bandied about more. And look, I am very pro consensual sex work.
Yes.
Not forced sex work. That's a whole other conversation.
Right.
Why was this necessary?
Consensual adults are consensual adults, but listen.
Live your life.
Xander has some issues, for sure.
He needs industrial strength therapy.
Yeah. And then Buffy says, no, he was by himself. And Xander just goes, give it time.
Buddy.
Like, what are we doing, people?
He had a glass of scotch and all of a sudden he's got whores and fur flying around.
I don't even want to know what that means. Stop. No.
Just think about it.
I don't want it. And then, Cordelia's like, yeah, no, I think Buffy asked, like, has anyone noticed anything? Cordelia's like, he seemed fine when I saw him talking to the police yesterday.
And everyone just turns and she's like, what?
Yeah. Everyone's like,
you didn't think that it would be helpful to mention that sooner?
No. And so Buffy's like, okay, well, I'm going to go check the library. Got to get some research going here, whatever. She goes to the library and we see like a man's silhouette in the stacks.
Someone's in the stacks.
So
Buffy investigates and she's snooping around. And by the way, the stacks are in disarray. I don't know what's going on in this library, but they are not keeping the stacks together.
It's great.
And we find out Giles' boyfriend's back.
Giles' ex-boyfriend, Ethan Rayne.
Boyfriend's back and you're gonna be in trouble.
Ethan Rayne and Giles fucked.
Ethan Rayne's back. Wow.
Good Lord.
Wow. Okay, so we went from blowing his trumpet
said what I said.
Straight out
I
banging.
Those two, in the way Ethan.
I will confirm that I have the same suspicion.
Where is this going?
I have the same suspicion because when Giles arrives and he grabs him by the back of his hair,
it's not there.
That is there. That is there.
The subtext is text.
The way he grabs it is very specific. There's a way. If you know.
You know, and I know what you're saying. And it's like Giles, it's
there.
We're gonna get to two characters in season 3 where it's the same thing. You're like, they're all but saying these two have had sex. I mean, look, we're about to get into it. But so it's Ethan Rayne.
Yeah.
Ethan Rayne, played by Robin Sachs, is probably one of my favorite portrayals on Buffy.
He's great. He seems like a theater, a gentleman with a theater background, a stage background.
Let's get production on it.
Yes.
Wow, that was the perfect button for this moment.
Okay, I forgot we had that.
Get ready to hit that one again. The way he was standing, I was like, oh, he looks like an old swashbuckler on stage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he brings it. What a great actor. So happy to see him back.
Robin Sachs was a theater actor.
He was.
Nice call, Ryan.
He's just got that presence on stage.
Absolutely.
And, he's very comfortable on camera.
He's got the vibe, like you're saying, of someone
He's got the vibe of an old English stage actor.
Yes.
And I love that.
And he died in 2013.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Thank you for your artwork.
Thank you, Robin Sachs. Amazing. So
Buffy asks him, "What are you doing here?" And he says,
so great.
"Snooping around." I love
I
love this character.
Snooping around.
This would be such a fun character to play.
He seems like he's having fun with it. Yeah.
I want to know what the notes were to him, because and again, this is why I think that he had this sort of background in stage acting, is because he's playing this role as if he knows the full depth of this character,
yes,
and his relationship with Rupert, but none of that comes out, but he personifies it.
That's it. And that's a lot of, I think, English actors are really
It is
good
so
at.
Good.
Yes.
And just such a fun little villain.
He relishes it. And this is also one of my fashion slays. He's got the jeans with the belt and the shirt that's unbuttoned. And it's like, I don't think it's silk, but it's like a billowy kind of fabric.
Billowy shirt. Yeah.
He looks great.
Looks
He's
great.
handsome.
I'd wear it.
Yeah. And I think you would look great in that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I love it. He says snooping around.
Love it. Just straight to it.
He's not fucking around.
It's like, I'm stupid. And
Buffy's like, wait, you sold us those costumes that almost got everyone fucking killed. He's like, but
wait.
Yeah, he goes, but you looked great.
Man, she
punches him.
Smacks him. She lets him have it.
Yeah.
And he deserved that.
He does. And Buffy's like, hey, I'm going to call the police and be like, yo, we've got this guy who basically got almost everyone in the town killed. And Ethan's like, yes, the police, but if they're going to question me, they're going to have questions for Rupert as well. Buffy's like, what the fuck? You know Giles?
He says, we go back. Way back.
I'm sure they do. Okay, I'm not even going to say it. Not even going to say it. Suck fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we do a quick cut to Giles, and he's having another nightmare. We see the tattoo. There's like that demon again. There's Deirdre.
Yeah.
But as she looked when she killed Philip, and his phone rings and he answers it, and it's Buffy. And she's like, hey, what's the mark of Igon? Huh.
Okay.
What is the mark of Igon?
That's the question we all want to know.
And he's like,
what are you talking about? She's like, well, your buddy Ethan Rayne is here.
Yeah. And Giles immediately.
Get out of there.
Yeah. You got to go.
Leave. You got to leave now. She's like, I'm not leaving until I get some answers. And then, pow.
Yeah.
We have Philip.
Fully dressed now. Where did he get these clothes?
And he's made his way back to the school, and he is after Ethan.
Mm-hmm. Which this made me laugh, because when Philip, you hear the crash, they don't even see what comes in yet. Ethan hears the crash and he goes and hides behind Buffy. He's such a weasel, and I love it.
He is. He's just such a good character.
I don't like the zombie of it all. The
RRR is how they have the captions for this.
It's bad. And Buffy's fighting him. At this point, the Scoobies come in, and they're like, she says, don't let him get away.
Ginny C and
yes.
the Scoobies.
Yes, forgot Ginny C. She's important right now. Yeah, because we're about to see that. Yes. Buffy's like, don't let him get away. Xander tries to grab Ethan, and Ethan basically dispatches him. But our gal Cordelia kicks the shit out of him, and he falls down
in a certain place, and he falls down.
Does she kick him in the?
Mm-hmm.
Then okay, so Cordelia,
as they'd say in the 1990s movie, The Monster Squad. Did you ever see The Monster Squad? They subdue the Wolfman by kicking him in the nards.
I haven't heard someone say nards. Oh my god, people kick him in the gonads,
and the kids are like, whoa, Wolfman's got nards.
Nards. Anyway, yeah, man, there were so many words for testicles. The nuts.
Balls.
Your gonads.
Yeah.
Nards.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Ball sack. Okay.
Okay. So Cordelia's got Ethan subdued. They put Philip in the cage.
Yeah.
Which held Xander when he was a jackal.
This cage is
not
a
jackal,
important...
a hyena. Sure. What?
Yes.
Yeah. They keep weapons, a full arsenal in it.
Yeah.
They keep people locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do a good job this time.
Someone forgot to latch the lock.
God damn it.
So here comes Rupert.
Looking messy and disheveled.
Looking worse than he did. I mean, he slept in his clothes.
Uh-huh. Okay, what does he do first? Ryan, what does he do?
What does he do, Jenny?
So he comes in and he first of all looks at Philip in the cage doing the grrr, and he's like, it can't be, because he just saw Philip's dead body.
Right. And then he sees Ethan.
He sees Ethan. And Ethan says, hello, Ripper. And Giles is like, I thought I told you to leave town. And he gives him a little quip about, my shop's lease is through the end of the year or something. And Cordelia looks at Xander and she says, why did he call him Ripper? And then Giles grabs Ethan by the back of the hair, lifts him out of the chair and like is this close to his face.
Hot.
And says, I thought I told you to leave town.
Yes.
And then Cordelia goes, oh, which
No, yeah, no.
what we all said.
We all understand that her question was answered in that moment.
Look, if they don't want you to think Rupert and Ethan have been intimate, they're doing a piss poor job.
Exactly.
They are really like laying on thick.
Good Lord.
This was the late 90s. Some of this still had to be, I guess, like shielded from the
youth.
mainstream watching primetime.
Don't let the youth see two men who might have been boyfriends.
Careful.
God, look.
Let's just
It'll turn you
let's
gay.
just call him Ripper and pull him by the back of the hair and just hope that people get the idea.
It's not gay. It's not. Right? So Philip escapes, and in the process of flinging open the door, he knocks out Jenny. Like he hits Jenny and she falls to the ground.
And I love this moment because Rupert Giles, aka Ripper, dives to save Jenny.
He goes to her immediately.
Dives for her. How romantic is that? I'm sorry.
It's not romantic. This is where my brain goes. I was like, he literally he dove in front of the zombie, which more catastrophe could have happened. The zombie
tells you what he thinks about Jenny Calendar.
No, he's very into her.
In that moment, you see how he feels about her.
Yeah,
and I love it. Those are little moments like that with characters in books and movies and television that almost go a little bit unnoticed to me. I'm like, right there. That shows how he feels about her.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
And I love it.
Yeah. And Xander, though, I don't know if you noticed this. Xander grabs Cordelia and like pulls her in. And I'm like, aren't you guys hated each other? Okay. Because doesn't Xander say that when he finds out that Cordelia is going to be at Saturday school? He's like, great. Why don't you add rectal therapy and it'll be the best day of my life?
Wow.
I'm sorry, rectal surgery. I don't know what rectal therapy is. Oh my God. What is wrong with you?
Do we need to talk about this? I'm getting you a t-shirt.
I need rectal therapy. Is that what the shirt's gonna say?
Good Lord.
Suck that. Okay. And we're back. So in this process of Philip getting out of the cage, Giles going to Jenny, Xander grabbing Cordelia, Philip just kind of collapses and turns to goo. As the goo starts to spread, touches Jenny Calendar's hand.
It does.
Not good. And then
we don't know that this means anything quite yet.
We don't know, but they just really zoom in the shot to show that her hand touches the goo.
Right.
And Willow's like, I've never seen anything like this. What the fuck do you mean? You have seen a lot of shit like this. What are you talking about?
You've literally seen people just disintegrate.
You had a relationship online with a demon.
I love this. Yes.
What? And then Cordelia says, I'm going to be in therapy until I'm 30. Yeah, they all need therapy.
Hey, spoiler alert. You're going to be in therapy a lot longer than that, kiddo. Toots. Thank you.
And Giles gets Jenny on her feet and she's like, and he's like, it's going to be okay. And she says, promise. And she puts her head on his shoulder and the camera zooms in and her eyes turn green. Not good. Go to the library. Jenny's sitting down. She's like, oh, my head is throbbing. And Buffy's like, what is going on, Giles? And he's like, I'm not. Basically, he doesn't tell her. He's like, it's not your concern, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, dude, tell me. And I'm saying, dude, tell her.
I know. This is, FYI, this is our lesson of this episode, which is if something is wrong, Communicate so your friends can help you through it. Ting.
Especially if it involves your potential death.
The more you know. Yeah, and the death of others. You're right. Yeah,
You should
and,
really
and
communicate.
everyone else around there. Yeah.
It would be nice.
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, he says
Don't want you to
stay
know.
out of it. He tells her to stay out of it.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you mean stay out? This is what I also don't like about this episode. I understand people, again, when it comes to trauma and things that are hard to talk about.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation in our personal lives. It's hard sometimes to talk about hard things.
Mm-hmm.
However,
In this situation.
this is when Giles, as the adult, needs to be like, yeah, this is a problem. This is what's going on.
I'm in danger. He's in danger.
Potentially, you're all in danger.
You're all in danger, and I don't know how to stop it.
Yeah. And he doesn't. And he says he's going to take Jenny home. And Buffy's like, I guess we got to figure this out. So she takes over.
Love this.
I do too. And
Little
she's
role
like,
reversal.
Willow, I need you to find out everything you can about the Mark of Igon.
She's like, I'll try the net.
Love it. She's like, Xander, how do you feel about rifling through Giles's personal files? He's like, sounds fun. Does that make me a sociopath? I don't care.
He needs industrial strength therapy.
Also, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. And then Cordelia comes up and Buffy's like, what?
She's like, you help Xander.
Well, she says, I care about Giles. And Buffy's like, oh, okay.
That's right. She does.
Yeah,
And
which I
what
thought
a
was sweet.
moment.
Yes. And Buffy's like, oh, okay, well, you can go be with Xander. And then Cordelia's like, well, when I say I care about Giles, Buffy's like, Cordelia, go.
Get out of here.
So I just love it. I love that. I love a team working together.
I do.
Things Buffy does great
Yeah.
as a show. We go back to Giles's apartment
Yes.
and Jenny's
We do.
drinking a scotch. She says, I don't want to be alone just yet. And, he's got her a scotch. And this is a really good scene, right? He's like, Jenny, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for you to get involved in all this. And Jenny's like, so I got involved. It happens when two people get involved. And we're like, Jennifer, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't he like try to kiss her, but he doesn't. It was hard to see. Some little lighting right here.
There's just a moment. He's like, well, I should really get you home.
Yes.
And she's like, well, they just kind of leave it hanging there and they cut back to the library.
Yes, they cut back to the library. Here's what we're doing at the end of the episode where it's like zip, zap, zippity dop.
Zoo.
Gotta go.
And so everyone's doing the
Nuts.
research. They're trying to figure out what's going on. They're investigating this tattoo.
Yes, and Willow's like, aha, it's not Egyptian. It's Etruscan.
Okay. Sure.
Great. And they learn that Igon is also known as the Sleepwalker and exists by possession of an unconscious host, and it gives people a euphoric feeling. It can also take possession of the dead, but if the body is dead, it disintegrates the host.
Right.
Okay.
So now we know Giles is in danger.
Well, and Willow also makes note, because we're going to need this for the end of the episode. If the body it's in is in danger, it jumps to the nearest dead or unconscious person.
So
Make note. And they're like, well, okay, when Philip disintegrated, there was no one else dead around.
but there was an unconscious.
Yep.
Miss Calendar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we go back to Giles, and Jenny is up now. She's off the couch.
Right.
She's making moves.
Giles is making them a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a cup of coffee before he takes her home, and
Right.
she rips the phone cord out of the wall.
Yeah.
And as he brings the coffee around after he's, oh, what's going on over there? Did you hear something?
What?
What are you talking about? And she's sipping her tea or coffee. It
Mhm.
must be tea, I guess.
Yeah, he'd
And
probably do tea.
She says, you could take me home, or you could take advantage of me while I'm in my weakened state.
But before we got to leave it there, because when we go to the library,
I mean, they're just
I
like, they
know.
leave you hanging with
I
these two.
know.
And there's so much sexual tension
Yes.
that's being built up here. And there's
Yes.
so much chemistry between these two
Yes.
that you want it to happen. But you also know it's like, are you really consenting?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And oh boy. So we go to the library and Buffy's like hanging up the phone. She says Jenny's not answering, or Miss Calendar's not answering her phone, and Giles is out of order. Buffy says, I'm going to go to his house.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to his apartment and he's sitting down and Jenny, does she push him into the chair actually?
She pushes him down into the chair.
That's right. She's
and then
like,
she straddles him
yes,
on his lap, which is hot.
Yes. And he's like, I couldn't.
It's not right.
It's not right.
I'd be taking advantage of you.
And
then, what a gentleman.
He's great. No notes on Giles here.
No notes.
And then she stands up and she's like, God, you're like a woman, Ripper, which what a fucking line, Joss Whedon. Thank you so much. This is a weird.
Yeah, we could unpack this entire.
Yeah, we could. And now she's got a demon voice, which I hate. I fucking hate it. And she attacks Giles. But before she can get too far, bah! Buffy busts open the front door.
I love it.
She high kicks Jenny.
Over the couch.
And Jenny's now, her face has kind of changed a little bit. She's looking a little more demonic. And she says, 3 down, 2 to go.
That's your best demon voice.
That's all I got. And
it.
she, says, be seeing you. And she fucking jumps out the window. Hightails it. And Giles is like in shock. And Buffy's like, Giles. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And she says, don't be sorry. Be Giles.
Love that line.
So that's a great line.
I'll tell you that someday. Next time you apologize, maybe be like, don't be sorry. Be Jenny.
Oh, I love that. And we cut back to the library. And Xander's like, didn't really find much in his files, but I found this. It's a picture of Giles with long hair.
21-year-old Giles is hot.
In a band, he is hot. He's wearing a leather jacket. He's got an earring. And, Anthony Stewart Head is much more, he has described, like his accent is much more like the way Spike speaks. In the show, Anthony Stewart Head as Giles is very posh. He's got London accent. Very crisp, very prim and proper.
But in real life, he's
more like Spike. Yeah, it's more a little rough. And if you haven't looked up Anthony Stewart Head as Frankenfurter, do yourselves a favor. Run, don't walk. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Tight.
He's amazing. He's a good singer. He's a damn good actor, as we know. And it's fun to see him let loose.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm watching my Giles have fun.
That's fun. That's cool.
But
that's the problem with big characters like this, especially with long series, is you can, as an actor, get stuck.
Yes.
And typecast into a certain role. When really, before this, he had a whole career.
Yeah, he did the stage production of Frankenfurter or Rocky Horror Picture Show. He was much like Robin Sachs, he was a stage actor. Yeah. He's so good. He's also in Ted Lasso.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I only got through the first season.
Well,
it was the accent. It was just
it's the Jason Sudeikis of it all for me.
It was that. It was the Tony Robbins of it all for me.
No, I'm with you. Although I think Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy Kent, is hot.
Give me drama and true crime.
Give me dragons.
Give me mystery.
Give me incest on Game of Thrones. Not typically anywhere else, should I say that? Okay, sorry.
I can't hit the child. Anyway.
Okay, so go back to Giles' apartment. He and Buffy are on the couch. No one's cleaning up the broken glass. It's probably pretty drafty in there.
Oh, well.
And they're talking about his youth. Giles is telling Buffy about his youth. And I think you made more notes than I did. I was just kind of still focused on the previous scene, but
yeah. So I just noted that Giles had mentioned where he had gone to school.
Yeah.
And that he had studied history
at Oxford, right?
At Oxford, and he was a college dropout.
Yeah, he felt the pressure.
History school dropout.
History school dropout.
No graduation day for you.
You'll be a watcher.
And that's cool.
But first, you're gonna get involved with a boy named Ethan Rayne and do drugs, magic. Yeah.
And his pet name for you is Ripper.
Ding. Okay. Yeah, so he's telling Buffy that, he felt pressure. He's identifying with her. We had learned before that his father was a watcher. His grandmother was a watcher. And he was, chafing against his responsibilities. He wanted to let loose, and he got in with a bad crowd.
They started practicing magic, and they were able to, I guess, summon this demon that would possess them, and he would get an extraordinary high
from the possession.
And I'm just like, this is hardcore.
So that's why another reason why I don't really like this episode is it just feels so after school special. We've got the drinking comment, and now this is an obvious metaphor for drugs.
Right. And nothing is wrong, and I don't need your help. Right.
Yeah. My thing about Igon is, what does everyone else around get out of it?
Well, he says that Igon took him whole. And that's hot.
But what about everyone else hanging out? Because he says...
Don't know.
He and Ethan found Igon. One of them would go into a deep sleep, and the others would summon Igon. So were they all just partying with Igon? I'm so confused.
Maybe he gets possessed by the demon, and the demon's like kind of a fun party person, like you see in the Premonitions, the Axl Rose characters, like, yeah, we're having fun.
And they're all... I'm a demon.
Maybe that's that Freddy dude, or Thomas, or whatever his name was.
Oh, Thomas?
Maybe that's the image of the guy that we see at the very beginning, the Axl Rose character.
Yeah.
Maybe that's who Thomas was.
Yeah. And they mention a Randall now, because he's like, well, someone in the group, Randall, took it too far. And we tried to exorcise Igon. And Giles said that we killed him. We killed Randall in the process.
Okay. So they were really like pushing the boundary here. They were messing around with some hardcore stuff.
Some dark magic.
Okay, yeah, this is afternoon special.
Listen.
After school special, whatever.
Did Giles also just admit to a casual murder?
Uh-huh.
I guess accidental, but...
Yeah. Manslaughter? Involuntary? I don't know.
Giles, the Scotland Yard would like to see you now.
Good Lord.
Good Lord. And he says Igon's coming to kill them all. And so they're like, shit, he's coming for Ethan. So Buffy decides to go to the costume shop to protect Ethan because Ethan's next on the list. Who determined the list? Who determined the pecking order of murder?
Well, I don't think there's any pecking order. I think it's just the demon is just kind of like following. Remember you'll find out in this scene that he's drawn to the tattoo. The demon is drawn to these tattoos. So
why would Buffy leave Giles alone though?
I don't think that she should have.
Because let Ethan figure it out.
That's what I say.
Yeah. So Buffy goes to the costume shop and Ethan's there and she's like, look, I don't like you. I'm here to protect you. And he basically says, yeah, Igon's going to find us. The tattoo is like a homing beacon.
There you go.
And Ethan is sassy. This man is sassy and he's like, giving Buffy the business. He's like, after you. They're going to go to the back, I guess, and hide. And when she walks in front of him, he picks something up and knocks her out.
Clobbers her.
It's not good.
It's not cool.
No.
And that's when I think I turned to you on the couch. We were watching this. I said, this episode is intense.
It is. It's very intense.
It's dark.
The Dark Age, maybe? Would you go as far?
Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe.
Dun, dun, dun.
And Buffy comes to, but she's strapped to a table. Like it's like a tattoo table. Like you see a tattoo shop or a massage table. She's laying on her stomach. Her arms are tied underneath the table. And Ethan basically gives the line, I like you, Buffy, but I like me more. He's so good.
This dude just has a tattoo kit.
Yeah, and a little vial of acid, as one does. We cut to the library, and they're still trying to figure out how to kill it. Cordelia says, I've got it. You cut off the demon's head. And Xander cracks, oh, yeah, Miss Calendar will be the first headless computer teacher at Sunnydale High. Do you think anyone will notice?
Point of order.
Here we go.
But not the first decapitated teacher at Sunnydale High. R.I.P. Professor Gregory.
How dare he forget our beloved Dr. Professor Gregory. Xander, if I didn't like you already, that's the nail in the coffin.
He believed in Buffy when no one else did. Love him.
Love him. And so Cordelia, after she makes the comment about, I have to decapitate a demon, and Xander says Miss Calendar. She goes, do you know what you need, Xander, besides a year's supply of acne cream? A brain. That is, look, it's a very 90s insult, but Nicholas Brendan has actually like beautiful skin.
Yeah, great skin.
Flawless. That was just dumb. And then Xander's like, that's it. I'm had enough. I don't care if you're a girl.
12 years.
After 12 years.
Had enough. This has been building for him.
And he's like, come on, let's go. And she's like, I've seen you fight. I know I could take you. And then Willow has had it.
Willow has had it. And let me tell you.
Okay.
I love it when Willow takes charge.
I do too. She's like, hey, you know, we don't have time for this. Our friends are in trouble. We got to get it together. And if you can't get it together, then get the hell out of my library.
Boom.
And they're like, we're sorry.
Love In Charge Willow.
I do too. And
she's a natural born leader.
She's amazing. Willow then realizes, you know, she's got it. She's figured out, you know, they're like, okay, we got to figure out, there has to be a dead body or someone unconscious. Where can we get a dead body? And Xander and Cordelia, like, the cemetery?
The cemetery.
Let's go. And she goes, wait, I've got it.
In a town full of vampires, where could you possibly find a dead body?
Dun, dun, dun.
And a willing participant.
Who could say?
Who could it be now?
So we go back to the Halloween store. Ethan has finished his tattoo on Buffy. He's like, oh, I missed my calling as an artist.
I'm so proud of myself. I wish I had more time.
I wish I could get, you know, Rippa's name on my arm. And he pulls up his arm where his tattoo is, and he's got casual vial of acid, as one does. And he's like, yeah, this will get Igon off my scent. Pours the acid
onto the tattoo.
And she's, you know, trying to free herself while he's burning his skin off. Then we cut to Giles' apartment. He's asleep. He's having dreams. And he sees Buffy in the dream. He's like, oh, shit. Wakes up and runs off. Did we need this? I don't know. But we have it.
I don't think we did.
So we go back to Ethan's, and this is a great line where he says, well, I hate to mutilate and run. Ethan is so funny.
It's just such a strange character.
But he's so great.
No, so good.
And then before he can leave, though, we see a green silhouette in the front door.
Yeah.
It's Jennifer Calendar, but she's not Jennifer Calendar anymore.
She's full demon.
Full Igon.
Full demon face, everything.
And she looks at Ethan in her demon voice and says, it's your time. But it's not, because he's burned his tattoo off.
So she catches a whiff of
Buffy's
tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Throws Ethan away.
Ragdoll, which he's probably into. And Buffy has freed herself.
Good Lord.
100%.
Buffy has freed herself, and she, like, throws the table up and is the table between her and Igon. And Giles runs in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Igon, take me. And Buffy's like, no, and gets between them. Jenny fucking shoves Buffy out of the way. But then we're rescued.
Yes.
Who could it be now?
Their guardian angel arrives
He does.
with the rest of the Scoobies. And Angel basically sacrifices or becomes the candidate for the demon to become the host body for the demon too.
Right. Because he grabs Igon, aka he grabs Jenny as Igon. He starts choking her. And Giles is like, oh, and Willow and Xander are like, no, just let it go. It has to happen. And in the process, Igon jumps into Angel's body. Jenny collapses, and then you see Angel's face. It switches from human face to vamp face to Igon's face, and he's just like, and then
that's our clip. That is our TikTok.
Oh my god, my children are gonna be so embarrassed of me one day. Okay. So, an Angel.
We love you, girls.
We love you very much. So they explain it as Angel has he's like, I've had a demon inside of me for 100 years, itching for a good fight. And then Buffy says, you know, still remaining champion. And basically the thought process is,
okay, break it down.
Igon jumped into Angel's dead body, because Angel is technically dead.
He's a vampire.
But there's a demon inside, so there wasn't enough room. So Angel's demon fought Igon and killed it. That's it. That's how this ends.
Dun, 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 dun.
I told you we were watching it. I was like, oh, fuck, I remember how this ends. It's bad.
Okay.
I think it's bad. I think that's bad. That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's a stretch that they didn't really like build up to earlier in
Yeah.
the episode, if they would have had some sort of a conversation that took us back to the story of Angel having a demon inside of him,
We have never,
then it would have been like okay, cool.
So is Angel's demon kept at bay by the soul? Is Angel? Is there Angel, the demon? What's
How does
what?
it work?
And then we cut to the high school. Buffy, Willow, and Xander are walking. Buffy's got a little scarf tied around to cover the tattoo.
Yeah.
You know, she says she's saving up her allowance for a really important pair of shoes, but now she's got to spend it on tattoo removal. And she hopes she can do that before her mom notices she has a tattoo.
Something tells me Joyce is not going to notice. She's too busy.
If your mom hasn't noticed you've been slaying vampires and doing all this shit, she's not going to notice.
But you've been gone for the past 36 hours.
You've been at your teacher's house. Like, Joyce is too busy paying her taxes.
Running the gallery.
She's got a lot of art to procure.
She's got a lot to do.
She's
a working gal.
She's a single mom. You know?
She's a single mom and working real hard.
Okay, that's all.
It's the best I got.
She doesn't pay attention to her kid, and she probably won't. Okay, so Buffy, they're talking about Willow. They're like, Willow, that idea was brilliant. Like, way to go, thinking of Angel.
Of course.
It's like, you should become a watcher. And Willow's like, oh, no. No.
But she is a natural born leader, and I think she doesn't give herself enough credit. And I'm glad that they are seeing that she is someone who can take charge.
Yes.
And someone who can be
lead.
very valuable.
Yeah.
As part of the Scooby Pack. So she's proving herself to have the chops that you need, that Buffy needs as support system.
Yeah. They're showing everybody's role, right?
Mm-hmm.
Buffy is smart, but Buffy is the muscle of this group. Willow and Giles are the brains. Not sure what Xander's supposed to be.
He's allegedly the comic relief, but I just want to fucking vomit.
Yeah. He's there. And, you know, when I did like the line, again, speaking of comic relief, when she says, you should think about being a watcher. And Willow's like, no, I don't think I can handle the stress. And Xander goes, and the dental plan is crap. Which,
most of them are.
Do watchers get a salary with benefits?
I mean, surely they must.
They don't pay their slayers, so.
Oh, well then surely they do not.
I hope they don't.
You're making a good argument.
Old fogies.
But knowing the time that and the age that we live in,
I think a discrepancy between, is it even a discrepancy if one gets paid and the other doesn't?
Yeah, that's a pretty giant.
Yeah. So they, you know, I think Willow makes the comment, she's like, I don't know how Giles does it. And Buffy, in a really amazing moment of understanding, like she and Giles have connected now, she's like, I don't think he has a choice, because she doesn't have a choice to be the slayer. He's the watcher, and that's what he does. This last scene was so sad. He like catches up to Jenny.
Oh, this scene breaks my heart, Jenny.
I know, it's so sad. And he's like, hello, how are you? And she's like, I'm okay. You know, I'm not, what did she say? Wind in my hair. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Okay, but I'm okay. He says, I tried to call you. She's like, I took my phone off the hook. I need a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
Very distant.
Very traumatic for her.
Yes. She was possessed and tried to kill Giles. And
lots of feelings.
Yeah, lots of feelings.
She just needs a little bit of space. And Giles is absolutely heartbroken.
He is.
Because their entire dynamic, their relationship dynamic in one night has completely changed.
Yeah.
And he's blaming himself. You can see the way that he's processing it. He's thinking, she doesn't feel the same way about me, and it's all my fault.
Yeah.
And he's bummed because for the first time in quite a long time, apparently, you know, here she was, someone who was showing interest in him.
Yeah.
And man,
that's what it is. Yeah.
I think we can all empathize with that.
It's really sad. And he's like, hey, I'd really love to help. You know, maybe we could talk about it over dinner or drinks. And she says, sometime. And he goes to touch her, and she backs up. And she says, yeah, sometime. And he respects her boundary. He said, yes, of course. She's got to get to class.
Yeah.
Buffy sees this interaction. She goes up to Giles after Jenny leaves. And she says, hey, is she okay? And Giles says, the hills are not alive. And Buffy's like, I'm sorry to hear that, I think. Like, she doesn't get the reference. And, you know, Giles he's beating himself up. He's like, maybe she'll, you know, I don't think she'll ever forgive me. I don't know if she should. And Buffy's like, hey, you should forgive yourself.
I love that one.
Yeah. And he's like, I never wanted you to see that side of me. And Buffy's like, I'm not going to lie. It was scary. I'm so used to seeing you as a grown up. And now I found out you're a person.
Yeah.
And Giles, again, like going back to our earlier conversation, he says most grown ups are. And if you let that show, children and young adults and teenagers, they can empathize and they can relate. You're not this like distant figure. You are a person.
Right. No, it's good to show that.
Yeah.
To kids of all ages.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all wandering through life and we're looking for answers and we're looking for direction. And it doesn't help when we don't have people clearly or fully be themselves, so you can see, hey, it's okay to hurt, it's okay to grieve, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be mad, it's okay to be sad,
it's okay to make mistakes,
it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good moment where Buffy's learning that lesson and also trying to remind her mentor of that, because even though you're an adult,
we're gonna
you
fuck
can still
up.
have a hard time.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need someone to say, hey, it's going to be okay, or forgive yourself. Or,
right. And it's okay that you're not okay right now.
And it's okay for her to see that. Like you said, it's okay for your kids to see that you're sad and for them to know that it's okay to be sad.
Right. And no, I'm not saying like, did Giles have to, before this, have to tell everybody his past? Like, no, am I going to tell my children every mistake and everything I'm not proud of? No. However, if they ask, sure. And I'm not going to pretend that I don't have those things.
Right.
And that's what he was trying to do. And I think,
I also think I don't know if he was just trying not to do it, or if they hadn't really reached the point in their relationship, or that it had come up for him to talk about it. I mean, he's not just going to show up to the library one day and be like, hey, they called me Ripper because I used to rip lines with Ethan, and we used to
summon demons,
commune with demons, and
committed casual manslaughter,
involuntary manslaughter. But anyway, it just doesn't come up casually. But in this instance, it did come up. I think he tried to handle it. So maybe this was a part of his life that he was hoping just to kind of put behind him.
Yeah.
But again, as we mentioned before, once it involved everyone else, and once you started putting other people's lives at danger, this was the time to open up and be like, hey,
yeah. Well, I do love, she says, like, after all this time, we find out we do have something in common.
What's that?
With just talking about, they have a duty and they're people. Yeah. And then, she's like, yeah, I think we're supposed to be training right now. And she says, I've got the perfect music. And he's just looking at her and she goes, come on, you want to say it. And he says, it's not music. It's just meaningless sounds. And then he says, the Bay City Rollers. Now that's music. Cut to credits.
Cut.
And that
was episode 8.
The Dark Age.
The Dark Age.
Okay. All right, Ryan.
Yo.
Okay. You know what time it is?
Yeah. I do.
It is time.
I do.
For.
Oh, someone put a steak in me.
Okay. What is your steak rating for this episode?
I like the clean, even numbers of like 2,
you don't
3,
say.
2.5. However, this one's tough for me. I think that, as we've discussed, there's a lot of good lessons that you can take out of this about not trying to go through something that's a very difficult situation by yourself.
Yeah.
And to open up and let your friends help you through a tough situation. Also, there is the relationship dynamic between Giles and Miss Calendar, which is off the charts.
Love it.
Hot. The chemistry, the connection, the back and forth between these two. I'm here for it.
That's great.
I want this for him so bad. And I do love the Scoobies working together.
Yeah, same.
Okay. We get Angel, although we get Angel in a very kerfluffly way that appears at the beginning of the episode and appears at the end of the episode, and there's really no rhyme or reason or connection to it.
I guess they're assuming, I guess maybe because in the last episode, which was Lie to Me, they talk about it's not you, it's a demon in your body when you become a vampire. Yeah. But I agree.
I enjoy the introduction to Giles's Spanish Revival apartment. Which is
great.
Super, super cool. So there's a lot happening here, which is checking the boxes for for Buffy. You're getting background and history on Giles. Half of me wants to give this like a 2.5 and the other half of me wants to give it a 3. So I'm going to give this one a 2.9.
All right.
It's a dark episode. They fumble the ending, but so many episodes of Buffy, they kind of fumble the ending here.
The first few seasons is where it's really,
I do like that the monster of the week is Giles's past and his inner demons. We get Ethan Rayne, which I love the character. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jenny, for hooking me on this Ethan Rayne character. So for as much not good as there is a whole lot of good to this episode. And so 2.9.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2.8. I just, some of the writing was clunky. Some of just the story itself, look, it's supernatural. So of course, not everything's going to be, there's always going to be a supernatural element to things that don't exist in the real world. But when I'm trying to figure out what the fuck's going on in the supernatural to the point of like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand the angel of it all at the end. The blood bank thing. It was just not my favorite episode. I don't go back to season 2 to rewatch this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The chemistry between Giles and Jenny, phenomenal.
Love it.
Love Ethan Rayne, but the styling was not great in this episode. It just kind of fell flat for me. I do love at the end Buffy and Giles coming together, recognizing that they have things in common, but meh. This is like a meh. I would rather watch this over Reptile Boy.
100%.
But I would rather watch Lie to Me or Halloween over this. So,
well, 2.8 and 2.9 are still
solid showing.
Above average, but not great.
Right.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. Well, we talked about our slays and nays.
Yeah.
So with that said, if you liked what you heard, please be sure to follow, rate, and review us on your preferred streaming service. And please stay up to date with our latest episode drops and additional fun content by following our social media accounts at Once More Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Threads. And we are the Once More Pod on Twitter, but we're hardly over on Twitter.
Yeah. And, please just hit the like or subscribe button. It really helps the algorithm, helps us. So if you like what we're doing, that's a good way to show it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Once More is produced by us, Jen Katz and Randy Something. And our original cover art is by Dr. Courtney McKenzie, my pal and yours, the fantastic doctor. And that's it.
Thanks for tuning in to Once More. We will see you next week for episodes 9 and 10 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2. What's My Line, Part 1 and 2.
So it'll be a 4-hour podcast. Buckle up, everybody. I'm so excited to get to that. That's our first, well, arguably Welcome to the Hellmouth and the Harvest are a 2-part episode, but this is our first 2-part episode of Buffy, and I'm excited. I'm so excited. Yeah. So be sure to check out our episodes of Unhinged, our sister podcast, which come out every Wednesday. I'm Jen Katz.
And I'm Ryan Something. And remember, everybody, do your best to make a fuddy-duddy squirm.
It's your duty. Bye.